All right. Hey, everybody. This is Cammie Nairn, True North Logic Lead with Home Base. We're going to present your webinar today for NCEES, Teacher and Support Staff Mid-Year Check-In Process. I did put in the handout area a PDF of the handout for today. It is the slides that you will be seeing. And if you'd like to link into the slides, there is the link in your chat area on the webinar panel. So thank you guys. We have over 35 attendees today, so that's awesome. I hope that keeps growing. I would like for Mandy Taylor to introduce herself. She will be taking the place of Kim Simmons today. Kim had another obligation that she had to go to. So Mandy, if you would unmute and just introduce yourself for today, please.
Hello, my name is Mandy Taylor. I'm excited to join you today. I am the Professional Development Coordinator in the Northwest and Piedmont Triad areas with the Educator Support Services Division.
Okay, thank you, Mandy. And Delia, if you don't mind, I think Delia is going to be manning our questions today, but I'd just like to let her introduce herself too. I don't know if Delia heard me or not. All right. Hey, Delia, are you there? Okay. So, Mandy, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Well, Delia must be occupied, but she is going to be manning our questions. I do see we have a question in the box. Is listen only mode the only option? Do you mean, Juliana, do you want to talk? So I just need to know what your question is, please. So if you do have questions, and we'll go over this one more time. Let me get my question box out of the way so I can see the screen. All right. In your webinar panel, there is an area called questions, and that's where you put your questions in, and we will, Delia will tap those in. Those of you with hands up seem to, let me see if I got them all down now. Okay. There are still some with your hands up. You can put those down for some reason. Oh, maybe I finally found that link. All right, so everybody's hands are down. But if you do have questions, put those in the questions box, and Delia will handle those. And Delia, just pop in, and when Mandy or I need to answer a question, just pop in and let us know. All right, so let's move on. Again, I'm Cammie Nairn with DPI, and I am your True North Logic or NCEES lead. So during our webinar, we just ask that you minimize any outside distractions. And I'll go ahead and apologize. I am on the road this week with our home-based meetups with our coordinators for NCEES and Power School and SchoolNet. So I am in a school, so you may be hearing some noises on occasion. So I will try to mute when I need to, but do know that you might be hearing cars and people, kids walking by. It says, please be attentive and participate. Notify us if you're having technical difficulties by raising your hand or asking those questions, and use that question bar on your dashboard. So today we're going over how to access the system, which most people should have a handle on by now since we've been in school for a while now. We're going to review the teacher evaluation process, and we're going to starting that evaluation plan should actually say continuing it. We're going to review the steps after the training and orientation, and I wonder why some of these are beginning. We're going to review actually the mid-year process, so I will get that slide corrected. All right, so to access NCEES, you're actually going to go through the NCEES Cloud, or it's also called IAM, and that's our single sign-on site where you log in, and you would scroll once you get logged in until you see the green icon that is the NCEES icon compass. It actually says True North Logic under it, so do know, let your teachers know that that is where they access the NCEES system. All right, so once you get into the NCEES system, this is the landing page that a teacher would see. Most likely they'll be on the Home tab. And if teachers need any help with any of the steps, teachers or admins, they can go under the Help Guides link and access any quick guides, evaluation guides, just for a step-by-step process. Do know that we've updated the color and different view of the system. So your guides will still have that orange and green look to them, but the steps will still be the same. I am in the process of updating those guides so that the screenshots will match what the system looks like now. We are recording this webinar today, so it will be posted just as soon as we can get it up on the link. So let's go into the teacher evaluation process. And this is where I'm going to turn the speaking part over to Mandy. So Mandy, this will be for you.
Right, thank you. So I think you're probably familiar with definitely the steps and probably this graphic. Today we are just going to focus on steps 3 and 4, the observation cycle and the summary evaluation and goal setting. So this one-page visual can also be found on the NCEES wiki, and you can see the address right under the word revised on the screen. And we can also provide that link to you in the chat bar. Today we're going to look at the bottom part of this one-page visual. Step 3, observation cycle, includes component 5, observation and component 6, observation conference. Progressing to the end of the year, step 4, which is the summary evaluation and goal setting, and includes component 7, summary evaluation conference and scoring the teacher summary rating form, and component 8, the PDP plans. And just as a reminder, I want to encourage everyone to use the PDPs as a roadmap to teacher improvement and practice, ultimately resulting in student success. So here is another resource that we will provide to you in the chat bar. This chart is also on the NCEES wiki, and it outlines the evaluation process for each of the evaluation cycles. So here are the 3 types of evaluation cycles. There's the comprehensive evaluation cycle for probationary teachers. The standard evaluation cycle is for career status teachers in their renewal year, or it can be used for any career status teachers at the discretion of the principal. Some principals may choose to use the standard evaluation cycle if they think a closer look at all of the standards is necessary. One example may include a change in assignment for a teacher. The abbreviated evaluation cycle is for career status teachers not in their renewal year. So the elements of the evaluation process are identified across the top, and this resource is just a quick and easy way to reference what is required within each cycle. All right, and Cammie, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mandy. All right, so this is where we're going to have the teachers go in and reopen their evaluation plan. So they should be in their system, and they should have clicked on My Evaluation, and they know where their plan is. They just need to click on the title and reopen it. So they should have completed their training and orientation, and they should have completed observation 1, and you should have those green checks there. Next, for mid-year, is observation 2. Do know when they click on these, depending on what plan they're in, depends on what needs to be completed. So like, for example, I'm showing you an abbreviated and a comprehensive here. Standard may have something a little different too, but do know when you see these asterisks on beside one of the containers, so formal observation number 2 has an asterisk. That is a required field. Watch for those required fields. On some of these, when you click inside, there'll be other asterisks, and they're a lot tinier. So do watch for those asterisks and make sure that every area that needs to be completed that's required is completed. Notice that in Notice that in Observation 2, the Pre-Observation Conference 2 is optional, and the Pre-Observation Conference Teacher Acknowledgement would then therefore be optional too. All right, do we have any questions so far? Let's see. All right. So I see what happens if the wrong evaluation is selected. When do teachers change from standard to abbreviated evaluation? That's probably a policy thing. Maybe Mandy can answer that. I can answer you what you do in the system if you need to change a plan. So I'll go ahead and answer that part. If you need to change a plan in the system, they got started on standard and they should have been on abbreviated the whole time, well, then you decide, do you want to keep them on standard? If you don't and you want to change them to abbreviated, you're going to have to go ahead. There's a couple ways to do it. Under My Staff, set that plan now to be abbreviated, and then they'll show up with two plans. Their standard one that was already started and their abbreviated plan. Well, somebody's going to have to go in manually and look at the standard one, enter that data into the abbreviated plan. And then when everything is copied over, then you can go in and either archive or delete the standard plan. The other option is to go ahead and archive that standard plan first and then go set that abbreviated evaluation. Remember that it does take overnight for that to go in effect before they can access that new plan. So Mandy, do you have anything to add to that question?
I will answer that second question through the chat bar, and I will share that out with everyone so that everyone will be able to see that answer.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So for this middle of year, remember, here's your observation cycle. The principal has that pre-observation conference, which is optional, and then the optional acknowledgement by the teacher, and then go into that formal observation 2, and then the post-observation conference. The teacher does the post-observation acknowledgement and a written response. Then the principal would do the written response, and, well, I move my mouse and I get this little pop-up in here that covers up my words. The lock observation activity. All right, do we have any other questions before we move on to the PDP or the professional development plan? So I see one that says, is it required for teachers to provide a written response? I kind of want to say yes. Does Mandy, do you know?
I will look at the, see if I can find that in policy before I give a definite answer.
Right, and because then I've also thought, well, then there is the one where the principal can sign and say that they are not signed for the teacher, but move on in the plan. So yes, so Mandy will get that answered in the box and get that out to everybody. Thank you. All right, so we're going to move on. I don't see any other questions right this minute. So, professional development plan. Professional development plan starts off with the individual growth plan. At the beginning of the year, it's just automatically set when you come back to school. If you need to move somebody over to monitored or directed, those are the other two options that you have. And I'm going to turn this part back over to Mandy so she can talk more about those.
Okay, thank you. So when you look at the professional development plans, there are 3 different types. So a teacher would be on an individual plan once they are rated proficient or higher on all of the standards. Under that plan, a teacher would set an individual goal for growth, and then the administrator and the teacher would meet to discuss that PDP 3 times throughout the year, once in the beginning, once at the mid-year, and then at the end of year. If a teacher receives a developing on 1 or more standards, then that teacher would be placed on a monitored PDP. The monitored PDP, not recommended for dismissal or demotion or non-renewal at this time, would also be part of the PDP, the monitored PDP. The administrator and the teacher, again, must meet 3 times to discuss and set goals together at the beginning, at the mid, and end of year. The final type of PDP plan is a directed PDP. If a teacher is rated not demonstrated on any standard or rated developing on 1 or more standards for 2 consecutive years, this is the type of plan that they would work from. Not recommended for dismissal, demotion, or non-renewal at this time. Again, in this case, the administrator sets the goals for the teacher based on observations and documentation. And the meetings, again, would be 3 times throughout the year to review that plan, and then additionally at the beginning, the mid, and end of year to review progress. 1 school year or less to reach proficiency, that rule with the directed plan is determined by the LEA.
Okay, thank you, Mandy.
You're welcome.
All right, so for the teachers to go back into their plan, they again go under My Evaluation, and they will scroll down to their professional development plan for this year and click on it to open it. They should have a green check on their self-assessment and their PDP initial review. They are going to open their PDP mid-year review. And in here, you'll see the PDP mid-year review. The PDP details is a required field where the teacher completes their mid-year information. And then for the PDP evaluator's signature is also required. The evaluator will be reviewing the teacher's submission and make any needed changes. And then the evaluator has to sign. So if there is a mentor, this is an optional field here. The mentor can sign in this container. And then the PDP teacher signature mid-year review is required. So here's just another block out of the steps in the order given. So the teacher does the details. Principal would do the evaluator's signature. If there's a mentor signature, that would come next. And then the teacher would sign. And then the last principal has the, I'm sorry, my words keep getting covered up, locking activity. All right, so just make sure all your required fields are in before you lock everything. Some of those do have hard stops, so if you're not able to lock, go back and check for your required field. All right, so that was short and sweet, it seems like. So we have additional resources for you. Do we have any other questions before we move on, Mandy?
Yes, we do. How does this process work for the teacher leadership specialists?
That's one I'm going to have to take back because I have to look at that. They have their own rubric, right? So yes, they have a plan. They still have abbreviated, standard, or comprehensive, don't they?
So actually, I can put a resource in. We do have a webinar that speaks just to the standards themselves, but yes, okay. Let's double check with Robert Sox, Dr. Robert Sox, to make sure that the process is not any different.
Right, to make sure what standards they do need to complete and look at and follow.
And Angela, I'm going to write your name down. Okay, Angela.
All right. I do see a question. What if the screen is locked in error? Your district admins have the reopen capability. So you'll probably have to reach out to your district admin to reopen something that's been locked or is closed up. All right. And I'm not seeing any other questions. Do you see any others, Mandy? I think we're good.
Just in terms there, just as a follow-up question to the written comments. On the one the principal receives, it does not allow for a comment when the teacher provides a written response. So if the teacher provides a written response, and Erica, please jump back in if I'm mistaken, but once the teacher provides a written response and the principal can't comment through the platform, is that what you're asking?
I think that's true. That might have to be an enhancement request.
Okay.
I don't think they can go in and then reply to a written response from the teacher. Reply back to it. So let's take a look at that. Okay. All right. So for additional resources for you, again, the PDP courses or PD courses. There's a list of them out at this website, www.rt3.org. You can go out and see courses that can be taken to assist in reaching those goals. So if you need to take these courses, you cannot sign up here at this site. They do have to go back into NCEES and access professional development, search for the course number, or the course title, and sign up for those. All courses currently are self-paced, so there's no instructor-led ones out there right now. Currently, there will only be self-paced, I believe, through the rest of this year. All right, and then we just have a slide for any additional questions. All right, pardon the interruption. All right, it looks like we don't have a lot of questions. I'll give you one more minute, and if we don't get any questions in, we'll give you your afternoon back.